Hey, movie maniacs, how's life treating you? Today, I'm diving into a chilling 2024 Indonesian film called Kromoleo, a movie based on a real urban legend from Indonesia. What makes this film stand out is its unique concept, and trust me, you're gonna love it. Even more intriguing, the story is inspired by true events, which means everything you see on screen is rooted in something that actually happened. So stick around, because at the end, we're talking about the real story behind it. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you're the first to know when I drop another killer movie breakdown, and I've got an epic one coming soon. Now, without wasting a second, let's jump straight into the movie. The movie begins with a dark, suspenseful sequence revealing that during the 1980s, several looters mysteriously disappeared and were found brutally murdered. These looters were divided into unorganized and organized groups. The organized ones were known as the Sugali. The term Sugali comes from the word Gali, meaning also interpreted as Wild Kid Society. This group was infamous for acting with uncontrollable, violent force, ignoring any rules or order. But what terrified people the most was that killing a Sugali was nearly impossible. Neither bullets nor blades could harm some of them. Many believed they were connected to black magic, with unnatural powers beyond human comprehension. The scene then shifts to Central Hawa Majanang in 1984, where a man named Danang is seen working with his associates Yanto and Prapto. They're forcing laborers to bury the dead bodies of Sugalis. Among those bodies lies one particularly powerful figure, Jarot. As Danang steps out of his car and approaches Jarot, he tells him, "You're not human." This moment reveals that Jarot wasn't an ordinary man, but a powerful dark magician. Before dying, Jarot curses the land with a spine-chilling declaration: "As long as my blood touches this soil, this place will be filled with death and destruction." Danang also possesses Jarot's book of black magic, which contains detailed rituals, one of which clearly states that only his own blood can kill him. Enraged, Danang slits Jarot's throat with a sharp cutter. That book contains countless dark practices. Shortly after, newspaper headlines confirm the link between Sugalis and black magic, stating that many of them were killed for no clear reason. The names Kromolin Barras and Paul Barras also surface, known as the men who handled the coffins, but their real secret is only revealed at the movie's end. Then the story jumps forward 10 years, where we meet a girl named Gia, traveling with her friend Dika to a village called Majanang to attend her mother's funeral. Gia didn't live with her mother, as she had always been treated harshly and kept distant. But Gia's journey isn't just about grief. She's also seeking the truth about her father. Rumors claim that her father was none other than Jarot himself. But what Gia had heard all her life, was it truth or just a terrifying myth? As Gia and Dika enter Majanang, the weather suddenly shifts. Winds rise. The atmosphere turns eerie. It becomes clear that Jarot's curse has returned through his bloodline, because Gia carries that very blood. As Danang, her grandfather, sees her, his face fills with anger and disappointment. Gia calls him Grandpa, but he shows no warmth. Even the people attending the funeral glare at her suspiciously, asking her to leave. Gia sits beside her mother's grave, then heads to Danang's house, where he tells her to leave, but she refuses. She needs to uncover the truth about her father. Danang yells at her, "It's not safe for you here," and Gia responds, "Why? Is it because of my father?" Danang sternly warns her, "Leave before nightfall." Meanwhile, Prapto warns all the villagers. Her arrival is a bad omen. Keep your doors and windows locked tonight. If someone knocks, don't open it. And if by mistake someone does, if they see something with their eyes, understand this: death is certain. But who exactly he's referring to isn't revealed yet. On the other hand, Gia is looking through her mother's belongings when suddenly a ball drops from above. She follows it upstairs and finds a locked iron box. Just then, Danang enters and says coldly, "Pack your things. I'll take you to town." But for Gia, this was just the beginning. What's about to happen next is even more terrifying and full of shocking revelations. As Dika whispers to her, "Your grandfather's trying to get you out of here." Maybe Danang was doing all this for the villagers, because the moment you arrived in the village, panic erupted. People were scared just by seeing you. Maybe that's why your grandfather didn't want you to stay. But Gia, brushing off Dika's reasoning, says her grandfather told her that her father had borrowed a large sum of money from the villagers and then just disappeared. So, perhaps that's why they hate her, and why Danang believes the same. But Gia doesn't believe it. She insists her father wasn't like that. He loved her deeply and could never just abandon her like that. There has to be another reason, and she's determined to uncover the truth. Gia tells Dika more. Her grandfather never let her visit the village before. He used to say, if you come here, people will die. But that never made any sense. Anyway, night falls, and Danang tries to drive Gia and Dika out of the village, but suddenly, the car's tire goes flat. Gia smirks quietly. She had punctured it herself, just to stay. Danang's rage explodes. He storms inside, grabs his shotgun, and barks, "You stay here. Get inside the house. Dika, come with me." Gia is left stunned, unable to understand what exactly he's trying to protect her from. She asks, but Danang walks away with Dika without answering. Gia is left confused, but her mind is now spinning with questions and fear. On the road, Danang and Dika get separated, and Dika finds himself alone. That's when he hears something strange, an eerie sound. In the distance, shadowy figures begin to appear, floating in the air, spirits holding coffins. These entities are known as Kromoleo. In some regions of Indonesia, they're called lapur. Dika, trembling, hides behind a car, while two nearby guards also spot the spirits. Meanwhile, we see Meli, Gia's childhood friend. Meli's mother sees the spirits and begins to panic. She shoves Meli into a cabinet to hide her, but the spirits reach them anyway. They lift Meli's mother into the air and kill her brutally. The two guards are also slaughtered. Dika is frozen in terror behind the car when Gia suddenly arrives. Panicked, Dika tells her, "We need to get out of here now. Those spirits will kill us." Gia, confused and angry, asks, "Did my grandfather brainwash you too? Are you seriously talking about spirits?" But in that very moment, an invisible force lifts Dika into the air. He screams in agony as Gia watches, shocked and frozen. Just then, Danang arrives. He holds up a mirror. The spirits exist in the mirror realm, and through it he sees that a Kromoleo had captured Dika. Danang fires his shotgun, hitting the Kromoleo directly. The bullet was laced with salt, a substance that repels spirits. In fact, many rituals require a circle of salt before they begin. Dika falls to the ground, and Danang and Gia rush to pull him away. Now, Gia's rage explodes. She screams at Danang, demanding to know what's really going on. But Danang says nothing. He just tells them to keep moving. They use the mirror to protect themselves from the spirits as they go. But once again, Dika is snatched by a Kromoleo. Danang manages to save him again, but the group ends up separated. Now, Dika and Gia are scrambling to find a place to hide, and Gia says, "We can take shelter at Meli's house. She's my childhood friend." After that, they rush to Meli's house, only to find her mother's corpse lying in the middle of the room. Moments later, Meli crawls out from inside a cabinet, sees her mother's lifeless body, and breaks down in tears. Gia tries to comfort her as best as she can, but they all know this horror is far from over. As they continue moving forward, Dika says they need to get out of there, fast. But then, from a distance, he sees something approaching. At first, he thinks it's a car, but it's not. It's the Kromoleo, those same shadowy spirits. And before he can react, they grab Dika and kill him on the spot. Gia, now overwhelmed with grief, collapses in tears, completely shattered by what just happened. Meanwhile, we cut to Prapto's home, where Danang arrives. Danang demands the amulet, the one object that can protect against dark forces. Prapto only has one, but even so, he hands it over. Danang's plan now becomes clear. He intends to convince Gia to kill her own father. According to Jarot's curse, only his own blood can destroy him, and that's the only way to end the nightmare. With the salted bullets and the amulet in hand, Danang leaves. Meanwhile, we see Gia. She's been kidnapped by Yanto, the very man who once helped Danang kill the thugs and Jarot. Yanto tells Gia that he's been waiting for her. He notices the amulet around her neck, something likely given to her by her grandfather to keep her safe. When Gia asks what the amulet protects her from, Yanto finally reveals the truth. Her father placed a curse upon the village, and only the amulet can shield her from it. Yanto then tells her everything, how Danang Danang slit Jaro's throat, thinking that would end him. But Jaro was no ordinary man. He was a black magician, and before dying, he cursed the land, declaring that whenever his blood returns to this soil, the curse will rise again. And from the day Gia entered the village, the Sugali, all those buried long ago, returned from their graves as Kromolin. Every single Kromolin is a resurrected Sugali. Anyone who sees them is destined to die, and the deaths happening all around are because of Jarot and Gia too. Her blood triggered the curse. That's why the moment she entered the village, the entire atmosphere shifted. On the other side, we see Propto's wife, frantic and terrified, telling him that they had only one amulet and he gave it away. She cries, asking why he didn't say no. "Who's going to protect us now?" she screams. And right as those words leave her mouth, there's a knock at the door. When she opens it, the Kromolin are there. They come for her. Propto tries to fight them off, but he can't save her. Both of them are brutally killed. Back with Yanto, he tells Gia everything about her father. She asks, trembling, "Is my dad still alive?" Yanto replies, "You don't just kill someone like Jarot. Not easily. Not in any normal way. That's why Danang chopped his body into pieces and buried them separately. Even that wasn't a guarantee, but it was the only thing he could do to stop him." That's when it's revealed. Jarot's head and body were buried separately, but even that wasn't enough. The only way to truly kill him is Gia herself. Because of the curse Jaro left behind, only someone with his blood, Gia's blood, can destroy him. To do it, she has to find his body, attach the head and torso, and stab it with a sharp object that's been laced with her own blood. Only then will the curse be broken. That's been Danang's secret plan all along. He's been manipulating everything so Gia would be the one to kill her own father. When Gia asks in disbelief, "But isn't my grandfather a good man?" Yanto coldly replies that he's not even close. He tells her that Danang was the very person who gave the Shagali permission to unleash chaos. He never cared about the villagers. Gia's only still alive because she's been wearing an amulet made from one of Jarot's teeth, and Danang had only 3 made, one for himself, one for Propto, and one for Gia. The rest of the villagers, he let them die. Yanto says he blinded himself to avoid seeing the Kromolin because anyone who sees them is destined to die. Gia pleads with him to let her go so she can stop all this, but Yanto smirks and says he doesn't want to stop it. This village is filled with corrupt people, and he's one of them. They all deserve to die. Years ago, the villagers brutally murdered thugs, and now it's justice. As he raises his gun at Gia, telling her she has to die so she can't break the curse, he pulls the trigger, but Gia kicks him, just enough to throw off his aim. The gunshot misses. The sound draws Danang to the scene. He storms in and beats Yanto savagely, nearly killing him, until Gia stops him. Danang then grabs Gia and drags her away. Gia tells him she knows everything, that the curse, the killings, all of it is his fault. Danang, emotionless, slices her hand and smears her blood onto a dagger. "This," he says, "is what you'll use to kill your father." Gia, shaking, says her father was a good man, someone she hadn't seen in 10 years, and now he wants her to stab him? She says she can't do it. Danang replies coldly, "Then I'll do it myself. I just needed your blood, and now I have it." He leads Gia back to the house, because Jaro's body is buried in the backyard. Gia is still reeling. She demands answers. Why did Danang have those thugs killed when he was the one who gave them the freedom to terrorize in the first place? Danang answers that he had his reasons. He says everything he did was to protect the villagers. He sent Gia far away, decades ago, hoping that distance would keep the curse asleep. But the moment she stepped back into the village, everything reawakened. That's why he tried to send her away immediately, but it was already too late. Danang now blames her for the curse's return. Hearing all this, Gia begins to spiral. Her faith in everything shatters. She starts removing the amulet from her neck, because Yanto's words are now echoing in her mind. Maybe he was right. Maybe this cursed village and the people in it really do deserve to die. Even though the villagers knew that the thugs were being slaughtered in the most brutal ways imaginable, not a single person spoke up to stop it. Yes, they were criminals, but no one deserves to die like that. Gia removes her amulet and the moment she does, the Kromoleo appear. As they lift her into the air, Danang arrives just in time to save her. He rushes inside to retrieve Jarrod's body from the exact spot where he buried it. He connects the head to the body, just like the ritual demanded. But right then, Yanto attacks him from behind, trying to stop him. Meanwhile, Gia is grabbed by the Kromoleo version of her own father, Jarrod. She looks at him and says he has every right to be angry, to unleash all of this. But before she can say more, his spirit returns to his body. Jarrod is now revived fully human once again. Yanto falls to his knees and begs Jarrod for forgiveness, but Jarrod shows no mercy and kills him instantly. Then he walks up to Danang, telling him everything he remembers. The truth is, Jarrod wasn't just a thug, he was also a black magician. But when Danang found out about his powers, he didn't stop him. Instead, he encouraged him to go even deeper into the dark arts. Danang was the one who pushed him to become what he became. And yet, after all that, Danang was the one who killed him. Now, Jarrod is here for justice, for vengeance. Danang insists it wasn't his choice. He was only following orders. But the film never reveals who gave those orders, though there's a theory. Something we'll come back to. Just then, Gia enters. She tries to stop her father. Jarrod walks up to her, and she wraps her arms around him, begging him to end all of this. But Jarrod looks at her and says, "There's no point. No amount of suffering can ever satisfy me." He wants to kill everyone in the village. Even his own daughter's voice doesn't reach him, so Gia does what no one expected. She takes the dagger, coats it in her own blood, and stabs her father. That's the only thing that could kill him. He finally falls. Gia then rushes to her grandfather, trying to help him escape, but it's too late. He's already too far gone. And now the truth hits her even harder. Danang did all of this under someone else's command. He's the one who gave the thugs the green light to terrorize, but also the one who tried to wipe them out. He sent Gia away years ago, thinking it would keep the curse at bay, but the moment she returned, everything fell apart. Just then, Melly, Gia's childhood friend, walks in. She overheard everything. She now knows that the curse was triggered because of Gia. She knows her mother died because of Gia, and she snaps. Melly pulls out a gun and shoots Gia. The bullet hits, but before Melly can do anything more, Danang kills her, and then finally he dies. Gia watches her grandfather die in front of her eyes and breaks down. But as her strength fades and she starts to collapse, something sparks inside her. She remembers the dagger, the one covered in her father's blood. In one final act, she stabs herself. Her eyes begin to glow, just like Jarrod's once did. In that moment, the curse passes on. We see Gia walking alone on a deserted road. Her wounds are healing on their own. Whatever dark force once lived inside her father is now alive in her. And then, the mid-credit scene. A mysterious man in a suit appears where Jarrod's body was buried. He calmly picks up the corpse, speaking as though he's been searching for it for years. He found it. And just like that, with one final breath of tension, Kromoleo ends. So, that was the story of Kromoleo, a film drenched in horror, mystery, and deep-rooted trauma. Now let's dive into some dark theories surrounding this movie. That mysterious man in the suit? I believe he was the one Danang was taking orders from all along, the true puppet master. It's likely he still wants to use Jarrod's body for his own agenda, because Jarrod's evil never truly died, just temporarily went dormant. If someone revives him using black magic, he could unleash chaos again, and the man in the suit might be planning exactly that. Now, the Sugali thugs, this violent gang, got their name from their unhinged brutality. Jarrod, a master of black magic, led them, and according to his own cursed book, the only thing that could kill him was his own blood, which is exactly how he was finally taken down. As for Danang's role, it's possible he was threatened by the man in the suit, told that if he didn't stop Jarrod, the entire village would die. So he provoked Jarrod, pushed him deeper into the dark arts, and eventually slit his throat. Maybe, just maybe, Danang did it all to protect his granddaughter, Gia, from falling under Jarrod's influence. As for the suit guy's goal, still unclear, but it seems he wants to exploit Jarrod's power, using his resurrected body for some deeper agenda. That means he might have manipulated both Danang and the villagers, causing all this destruction. Cursing cursing the entire village, and that hints at a terrifying possibility. This man might actually be the real master villain, setting the stage for a part 2. Now switching to real-world roots, this story isn't just fiction. In the 1980s, villages like Magelang and Mayanang in central Java, Indonesia, were haunted by a tale that still chills locals today. People claimed that during quiet, late-night hours, they saw eerie shadows carrying coffins across deserted roads, chanting one phrase over and over, Kromoleo, Moleo. They moved in slow, deliberate steps, and it was said that if you locked eyes with one, you would die that night. Villagers were so paralyzed with fear that they stopped going outside at night. But this wasn't just about ghosts. During that same time, Indonesia's government launched a secret operation known as Petrus, targeting and executing suspected criminals without trial. Bodies would appear, but no questions were asked. People began to believe that the spirits of those wrongfully killed had returned as Kromoleo, souls hungry for justice, for revenge. Eyewitnesses described shadowy figures whose eyes burned with bloodlust and whose feet never touched the ground. Deaths began piling up without explanation. Doctors had no answers. Only the old villagers whispered, Kromoleo has returned. Even today, if someone in Magelang hears that haunting chant echo in the night, they slam their doors shut without looking. A film called Lampor was even made about this real legend, blending horror with history. If you'd like me to break down that movie too, just drop a comment. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Kromoleo. If you did, like the video, subscribe if you're new here, and share this creepy tale with your friends. I'll see you in the next one with another dark story. Until then, check out Exuma, a South Korean horror movie based on a spine-chilling urban legend from their own folklore.